Like you're on a hamster wheel all the time. And here's the carrot. Like, here you go. You need to get money. Oh, we added an extra $1. We added an extra this. We added extra. Come on. And I'm like, when will it ever be enough? Based off our numbers, you love when we talk about the Pivot podcast. We've been following the Pivot. Did you know they started 5 months ago?
Really?
Did you know that?
Well, I know it happened after the whole split or misunderstanding there. But it's been only 5 months.
That video, The Truth, came out 5 months ago. They have about 5 million views on their YouTube, right? And for those people who don't know what the Pivot podcast is, real quick backstory. I Am Athlete podcast or show, whatever you want to call it, right? They had a breakup. We covered it on the podcast, so go check out, past episodes. But the two people that left, Fred and Channing, teamed up with Ryan, and they created the Pivot podcast. They explained what happened, but then they got in this whole groove of like amazing interviews. We've covered the Pivot podcast interviews several times. I feel like we should be an affiliate with them as well. But they just have a really great run. And I believe, I'll say, this is my opinion, I believe it's better than I Am Athlete right now with the conversation and the guests that they have. But that's just my opinion, no shade, because I listen to both still. But I really like the vibe and the conversation that the Pivot is having. And I love seeing the success that they have. Like, you would think, like, we've seen another podcast break up and it got quiet in a certain section, right? Now, this one, it's like both of them are still thriving. And I love that both are still doing very well. Like, not one is being hurt by the other. There's not really shade or anything like that. I love that both are really still doing their thing. But I was looking at their stats. Their first video was 5 months ago. And I feel like they've made a huge impact in this whole situation. Before we get into the clip, let me get your opinion on the Pivot podcast.
No, I love it. I appreciated what they did because it could have been very easy, especially for Fred and Channing, who weren't podcasters or in the media game at all, really. So for them to stay or come back and say, you know what, we're going to carry on because we feel that we have almost a responsibility to the next generation, regardless of age. People are actually tuned in and listening. And because typically, and this almost goes along with the conversation we were just having, typically when a split happens, the two-man rarely jumps up to become his own number one, right? Or you try, but you don't have the same level of success. You might doubt. You might say, I'm more comfortable in this role. I don't know that I necessarily want to jump out and be the limelight or the face of something. And the fact that they've done that and carried through is phenomenal. And then, of course, like you said, they've had some really good interviews from Floyd, which we've covered, A-Rod, a few others. So they've had some really dope conversations over there too.
Yep. And so they recently did an interview on The Breakfast Club, and knowing their background with, some of the, I would say, defects and flaws of their prior agreements, right? Which is, of course, one of them was money. They said something, actually Ryan said something very interesting about what's more important. Is the money more important, or is the content more important for them? And this is what he said.
We make good content. If we treat people the right way, eventually you'll make money. That's right. But if we're not focused on making the best content and putting out the best show, if it is, we got to do this because that's where the money is. One, we'll never be happy. And two, we'll never make enough money if that's what we're chasing.
Mm.
Now, I, I think, and there's nothing wrong with chasing money. Let me put that out there, right? Though money is not important, like from a list standpoint, is not the top of my list of you have to focus on money, right?
Yeah.
But I am aware with money you are able to impact and do a lot of things and have options, things like that, right? I'm very aware of that. With me stating that, I feel as if you continue to focus on money, are you ever going to be fulfilled? With inflation, with new toys, technology, all these different things, you're going to live a lifestyle that's going to always make you want to have more money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you chase and continue to chase it, do you get drained? Like, and that's just a legit question for those people who like is only there to chase money. Now, I'm team content, team serving. If you serve the people and you give it away and you concentrate on just creating really dope content, not even highly produced or anything, just really dope content, everything that you're asking for is coming to you, right? Everything that from money to popularity, if you want that, peace of mind, that's coming. Like, whatever you want, because content is a way of serving the people. I believe that. That's in my eyes and in my world. This is something that you give to people for free that is helping somebody, improving their thought process, or motivating them in some way, shape, or form. And so by you serving the people, it's reciprocity. So though money is important and we need to pay the bills and we need to have this with this gas prices the way it is, shout out to me never really driving anymore to really even feel that, but whatever. To house the interest rates going up, everything is just going up. So money you need. But I don't believe in draining yourself in a never-ending goal. It goes back to the first conversation. Like, I feel like that is a race. Like you're on a hamster wheel all the time. And here's the carrot. Like, here you go. You need to get money. Oh, we added an extra $1. We added an extra this. We added extra. Come on. And I'm like, when will it ever be enough? And that's fine. I'd rather move with, I'm going to do what I need to do, and an unlimited amount of money will come through when I'm ready. Because maybe I'm not ready at the time that it was low, or maybe at the time that it's not here. Maybe I'm not ready, but I'm being like, yo, I need all this money. Maybe I'm not ready for it. And I'm okay saying, yo, I need to make what I have work and still serve somehow, some way.
No, that's real. That's real. Yeah, it's super important. I mean, I'll approach it from a business standpoint for a moment and just think about, yes, money is important, but you got to have a quality product. It's funny. I actually sent something to Carl this morning about a ton of money that was forgiven in student loan debt. And the main reason why the federal student loans were forgiven for that particular lump sum was because the institutions that enrolled all of these students, and by the way, I think that number was over several $billion. It was a result of a lawsuit because the institutions that enrolled all of these students made false promises about job enrollment. You know, it was like DeVry and some of these other online institutions about, hey, just come with us any which way.
Right.
We'll help you find a job after. Well, it turns out that a lot of these people actually didn't deliver on their promise. And so they had all of these billions of dollars pulled back from them. So when you think about it, it's the same thing as saying, let me make sure I have a quality product, because that's the only way I can guarantee staying in business. Or that's the only way that I can guarantee that the promises that I'm making, I'm going to fulfill them on. So it takes a level of discipline, sure, but it is something that a lot of us need to practice, because you get jaded when you focus on the money. Right. When that's the only thing that you're thinking about, or that's the only thing that you're focused on, you're not always going to make the best decision for the longevity of your brand. You're going to think about, well, what will pay me now? How much can I earn today? And that's not always in the best interest of the future or the growth of your brand or your business. When you zoom out a little bit and you play the long game and you can think about, okay, can I pick up on a trend? Can I pick up on an opportunity that I position myself early and just be the best and be the best and be consistent and apply all of these different criteria that we laid out here today? You'll be surprised how in just a short period of time, back in the day, time used to be 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. Today's time is really 3 years. Yo, for real, like you can really blow up in 3 years. You can see a lot of progress happen with some good quality work and consistency laid down for 3 years. Sometimes less. But I'm just saying, it's the approach that you want to bring to the table and say, let me play the long game. Let me put out a quality product and really deliver on my promises, so that when people start listening and saying, so what are you talking about? They actually see that you're delivering on this promise that you made to do whatever it is you said you could do. And that's how I look at it. Delay the money, put out a quality product, or focus on, in this case, the product is the content, because it is a media as a podcast is similar to ours here. And that's how you start bringing in the funds long term.
Sheesh.